Okay, we're in the green right now. If it changes, I'll let you know.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I think we're back. Let me check, and just to make sure. I don't know. We may be back. We may not.
Great episode, guys.
It has been so far. Very memorable.
This will be one of the episodes of all time.
No, I don't think it's live.
So back on Mitchell County, we
Well,
need
you can
more
come see my computer.
internet options.
Right.
You can come look at the computer, and it says stop streaming and auto stop. So something is right, and
Yeah, no,
something is wrong.
there's no live stream. We're not live.
Wait a minute.
Well, the OBS is lying to me.
We did some. What was it called? The shit show. Yeah, we did that.
Yeah, that. Yeah, so you're gonna have to stop the stream and go in and make a new stream in
Streaming. Okay. We're live again.
We're live again.
We are in the green.
We're in the green, and I've closed my Mac. Maybe it is the Mac. Maybe it is, Neil. Maybe you're right.
I know I'm right.
Sorry, everybody.
I work with these things.
Sorry.
Welcome back.
That's
everybody.
how I know PlayStations are better than Xboxes.
Okay.
Too.
Oh, you are my best friend.
Okay. We're back, finally.
Neil's trying to start a console war in the comments.
I mean, it's already over. There's no war. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, that's true. I mean, I'm completely agree. There's so
Have
much
you got your
better. It's
volume
not
up?
even
I'm
funny.
hearing an echo.
On the. Oh,
Yep.
sorry.
That's all right.
Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
I'm like that guy that calls in the radio station and doesn't turn his radio
Could you
down.
turn your radio down? Oh, my Lord. What a train wreck. You're right, Shane. This is just like Ricky Bobby's crash.
Yeah.
Like,
like
it just keeps
forever
going
and
and
ever.
going.
Commercial break. Yeah.
Okay, so we're back. Everything should be good now. Neil, you were saying what you think the biggest obstacle is for Mitchell County. Let's rehash that and go there, and then we'll go to Shane next, and we'll see if we can come up with solutions.
You know, and I'll say a little bit more. I don't know if anybody heard what I was saying before, but basically just that the old money in the county keeps everything status quo, and that is basically in and the way that the nation has gone in general. All the industry is gone, and the South has kind of been destroyed in a way by that, because the South largely was the unskilled labor as far as factories and things like that go. And you know, back in the day, people could raise a family working at the furniture mill or whatever. Now you can't really do that, and there's some jobs but not many. But basically what I was saying is that they've tried to keep everything simple and keep Mitchell County from back in the day, but you just can't do that because time just keeps going on. And all they're doing is the county's just eating itself, basically. And we're just going to have more drug problems, more problems with children that aren't taken care of. You know, what's going to happen when, like, the boomers start dying off?
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, personally, the way I see the county, pretty much they're keeping everything together for the most part. How many people are living with their parents?
Mm-hmm.
How many grandparents are raising children?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, when they're gone, I don't know what's going to happen. But as far as Mitchell County's biggest problem is, I think our leadership has failed us in a big way, because we're not doing anything to grow the county in a good way. And I think the only way it is growing is in a bad way.
The only thing I would push back on is it really up to leadership to grow the county. That seems like it would be more of a private industry thing.
It's not, because you really have to have a place that's amicable for industry to be a part of.
Sure. I agree
And
with
you
that.
know, when you've got people that are pushing around money, stopping
I get
large
that.
people from, like, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I'm not going to name any names, but we know that there's been some factories and there's been some retailers that have just been snubbed out because people have businesses that have interest in that they just don't want to see come here.
They don't want the competition.
They don't want the competition. You know, Walmart was fine. Everybody was, oh, let's give Walmart, you know. And I mean, I'm all for brick and mortar businesses. I work for a small brick and mortar business. I mean, they couldn't get any smaller. I mean, it's 2 owners and me.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And I think that's really the American way. But, you know, That's a whole nother ball game there, really.
I would even push back and say that's the romanticized version of the American
Right.
way. But the
Right.
real American way is giant globalist corporations that control everything. That's the
Well,
real American way.
Yeah.
Shane, what do you think?
I think it starts.
Same question.
I think it starts in D.C. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
You know, our local leaders. You know, I've worked in several different counties that have way larger tax bases.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm going to use Avery County for example. I mean, you've got 3-4 ski resorts.
Mm-hmm.
You have 4-5 private communities, gated communities. I mean, $7 million houses sitting on the hills.
Mm-hmm.
You know, their tax base is phenomenal. So I agree with a lot of what he's saying, but it starts in D.C. because we're the forgotten ones. We always will be.
The working class.
The working class, rural. You look at the map. I mean, it's all red.
Mm-hmm.
They're taking care of the little blue dots on that map. And you know, another thing that I don't like with Mitchell County though is this conservation property. We're turned into Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
Murphy's like 70% conservation land. So, you know, if you do invite industry in here, where are they going to build a plant? Or if you want other people in here for a larger tax base, such as, you know, like Avery County, where we can have a gated community with $7 million houses on the hill, but it's conservation. And I won't name names of conservationists, and conservation's good to a certain extent, but when you block the people out that's been using this property for years, and you pay not 1 red cent of taxes on it because
It's conservation.
it's conservation land, so
Yeah.
they're not getting annual taxes from these people that own 2,000 to 4,000 acres of land that can never be touched.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you push tourism and growth while you're allowing billionaires to buy all the land
Right.
with no tax money coming out of it?
So I'm fairly agnostic on the on conservation land. So is that privately owned land, or is that land that's owned by the government, or
Basically what
because I really don't know.
these millionaires do, billionaires. One of them's he created Fortnite. To be honest with you, I don't know if you know that guy, but he's bought acres and acres of land, and when they turn it over to conservation or the state, they get a tax write-off for that.
Okay, so that was my question: is if it's a tax loophole?
It's a huge tax loophole.
Okay.
And you know, Bill Gates does it.
Mm-hmm.
Every rich billionaire does it.
And right, they still own it. They can. They don't.
They can set certain rules and regulations to it with the conservation.
Can they sell it at a future date?
No,
Never again.
No, once you turn it
Really?
over to conservation, it is conservation property.
No, I didn't know that
Yep.
part of it.
Because if you get any type of benefit out of the property you buy, you have to pay taxes on it.
Right. Well, that makes sense. But so they're just basically, it's just like, you know, spending money on a business so you don't have to pay taxes.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Okay. So that makes sense.
So you get, if you had to pay $80,000 in taxes, you buy a $80,000 truck. You don't owe taxes anymore
But-
because you're gonna.
The difference in that analogy is you buy that business, but nobody's allowed to work there.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's a good point. Well, and there's a lot of that going on in downtown Spruce Pine, and I hope things are changing. But, you know, there's just so much real estate that's not used.
Oh,
And
yeah, there's empty buildings, and you know, they say it costs X amount of dollars. You know, the old Pine Bridge building, for instance. Man, I used to love that place.
I know I did when I was a kid.
Swimming pool,
Which
floor
they're
basketball,
finally getting it back going.
ice hockey.
I need to get an update. I need to find out who I can contact to get an update on that, on the YMCA project, because I would love to know where it's at.
Well, I know some people that work there. You know, David Whitson's doing a lot of it, and they're coming along really good.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
good.
it's really nice, and they have the I think they have some of the school part done.
They do. They're
And-
actually in there, I think, doing hair
Yeah.
and nails and stuff now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think they are.
But I think they're gutting the and redoing the huge, like where the hockey rink was.
Right.
Now is
Oh,
what they're
where
doing.
the skate rink was.
But they're
Okay,
gonna
good.
put. I don't know if they're gonna put a skate rink back. I would love that, but they're gonna have a pool and they're gonna have basketball and
And
it's gonna
that
be.
place was packed out.
I know, man.
24/7. We'd had lock-ins there.
I
you
know.
and just
Well,
had a good time.
There was a lot more kids here then, too.
Oh yeah,
That's the
Oh,
thing.
yeah,
There
yeah.
was a lot more children here. There was a lot more families. And it's going back to what Vern said when he was on the show about how the school's funding is based on the student population
It is, yeah.
and how that is shrinking.
It is.
Every
I didn't know that.
year. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're estimating. I mean, it's 400 student loss within 3-4 years. I mean,
Wow.
Is that just because people aren't having kids?
just based on historical numbers.
Right. But do you think that? I mean, I know you don't know, but do you think that's because people aren't having kids or they're moving away?
Well,
or
they did a study recently that Caucasian Americans are not having babies.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
they're and to be honest, I think it's the world we live in now. I wouldn't want to bring a baby into this world.
I know.
I think the data that I've seen largely is it's all over the world too, and it's your well, I say it's all over the Western world,
Mhm.
and it's largely your white
Mhm.
families that are seeing a huge decline in birth rate. They're just not having kids, and I don't know exactly what it's a product of, but that's very interesting. I would even think that maybe the local issue that we're seeing has to do a lot with the younger people moving out and
Oh,
having
yeah.
families elsewhere.
Yeah.
So, people my age and your age
Right.
and your age, they're
Right.
largely, a lot of them have moved off and
And why was that?
seeking opportunities.
Right.
Yeah. I
They're-
mean, I can't name many people I went to high school with that's still here.
Mhm.
Yeah. Not too many. Not too many. And it's a small place, and it always will be. I mean, it's just a small mountain place. We're never going to be Charlotte.
No,
But-
and we don't want it to be Charlotte. We want it to
Right.
be Spruce Pine.
But I think there would still be a potential for people to want to stay a little more if we could get a little more industry in here.
we need, in my estimation, there's two big obstacles, and one of them is livable wage jobs
Oh yeah.
and
Yeah.
affordable housing.
Yeah.
Well, I think everybody's struggling with living wage jobs right now.
They are.
And going back on the housing part there, where are they going to build?
Yeah.
Because either somebody's bought up the property or it's family property that they're never going to let go of.
Right. And I remember it broke my heart. And I still know people that are displaced right now.
Yeah.
I have people in my life that I rent to.
What's up, Chase? What's up,
because
Laura?
they are displaced and can't find a place to live, have money to buy a place.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since the pandemic, these people just run in here with all this cash
Oh yeah.
and want to make Airbnbs out of everything.
Think about that though.
And the residents that have lived there their whole life can't find a place to live.
You think about that though. I mean, it's people from California.
Mm-hmm.
It's people from New York that have sold their places for $4 or $5 million,
Mm-hmm.
move here, and offer somebody 3 times what the value
Yeah.
of the property is. They're going to
Right.
say, "Heck yeah," and they're going to have a house paid for.
Right. No bank involved, nothing. Just
Nothing. Just
cut them a check.
Cut them a check and be done with
Which
it.
will artificially inflate the real estate market.
And that's not going to be baby boomers
No.
or people that's going to have children. That's going to be people that was
They're
already,
already
well
right.
off.
Mhm.
Probably have children that may even be already in college
right,
or
yeah,
gone.
Yeah.
I think we need, apartment complexes around here.
I
You
agree,
go to Johnson
yeah.
City, you go to Asheville, you see condos, you see
Yeah.
townhomes.
Oh yeah.
We need stuff like that. We need
Yeah.
affordable, and when I say affordable housing, I don't mean just necessarily the real estate market. I mean rental properties too, and maybe
Yeah.
maybe this is where I need to put my money where my mouth is, and
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
do something. But we need affordable rentals here that are nice and that people could live in and be like, yeah, this is my house.
But the system's set up for you not to be able to do that, because if you go out and try to take out a loan to build rental properties, you have to have 20% down.
Unless you do, you can do a FHA loan on a new build apartment complex. You can do that. I've looked into a lot of this. There's a lot of ways to do it. But it does require money. It requires money.
And property.
Yeah, and property.
Yeah.
I'm fairly optimistic on this point, which is odd because normally I'm more of a pessimist. But on this front, I am a little more optimistic. I think that there is a lot more that can be done. It's just a matter of doing it, and maybe that's something I need to think about.
Well, and that being said, I do see some signs of growth, like we're talking about. They finally did something with the Pine Bridge. They're finally doing something with the old Food Lion. Big Lots.
Big Lots
moving in there.
Yeah, Big Lots.
Which that's great. Big Lots. But like you're saying, the housing is a big thing too.
What's up, Jennifer? Jennifer says, Shane.
What's up? Yeah, the housing is huge. People, you see on Facebook all the time, look for 2 bedrooms, they
gotta have somewhere to live.
They gotta have.
Yeah.
And
Well, and I think a lot of it is the building cost too. Like there's a lot of gutted houses around here that need to be either torn down if there's no structure left, or completely renovated.
I can give you a great example of that. It's Old Fort.
Yeah.
Old Fort 20 years ago, those houses are falling down. Now they're nice looking houses.
And people would want to do that, people with money, but they're not going to pay these outrageous building costs, because if you build a $150,000 house now, it's going to cost you almost $300,000.
Yeah, and the reputable contractors, they're probably 2 years out now.
So behind. This is a great conversation. This is where we need Chase, because he's a general contractor. He could tell us exactly probably what the average cost per square foot is for a home.
The cost.
Chase, what is it?
Chase, tell us.
Tell us in chat what it is.
It's got to be like $148 somewhere.
I would say it's probably closer to $250.
Really?
Yeah, they're just guessing.
Yeah,
just guessing.
Well, I've got family in the construction companies, and they, my cousin, he's having turned jobs down left and right.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
So, people around here really need to look into the trade business if they want to make money. That's the way to go. But
it's tough, though.
Because there's nothing else.
It's tough. And it is tough getting started, though. People want someone with experience, but, you got to start somewhere. You really do.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to talk to Mayland and see, we had Alex on talking about the mines and stuff, and
he's my uncle. Yeah,
dude, Alex is awesome. I didn't know that. That's
he's
super cool.
Yeah.
He's so brilliant.
He's a good
brilliant guy. So anyway, what I was thinking is, we brought up the point of Mayland is a good resource. Maybe they could, offer some training to go into the mining industry. Why don't we have real estate investment classes? Yeah. Dude, they don't teach you how to do this stuff in school. You really have to learn it on your own, and it's such a shame, because if more people knew that you could build and buy rental properties that cash flow you money and use other people, i.e. the bank's money, to do it, more people would do it, and we would have more affordable housing here.
This may be a stupid question, but
there is no stupid questions, only stupid answers.
Do they have I'm sure they do somewhere, but is there classes you can take, learn how to do contracting work?
From my understanding, my son's trying to do this. He's 21.
I don't know, Neil.
He's
or do you just have to learn from somebody that does it?
You have to have 4 years before you can get your contractor's license, and then you have to be. Chase may correct me on this, but you have to be bonded. You have to have a certain amount of money to be able to bid.
You do.
And who can put $150,000 in the bank?
Right.
It's got to be liquid cash.
Yeah. So that's set. It's not set up for the self-employed. It's set up for the big construction company.
Right. And it's a serious thing, so it should be.
Yeah.
But I mean, like you say though, people just need to. If they want to make some money, it's out there to be made, man. I'm telling
My
you.
opinion
It is.
If they're insured, hey, they should be good to go. They shouldn't need $150,000 in the bank.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they've got the insurance to back it up.
As long as they've got the experience and the insurance to back them up.
And Bradley in chat here mentioned employer big lots equals more low pay, with poor and no benefits, raking in money for imported cheap Chinese goods. I see that.
Well,
point. I do, and I agree with that. As much as I still think maybe it's a small step in the right direction because it is something. And something is better than nothing, even if it is a lower wage job. I think we need more skilled labor jobs. We need more skilled labor jobs.
I don't know how many low paying jobs are going to exist anymore as far as we think of. I think of a low paying job as less than $10 an hour.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you're seeing
You can't hire somebody for $12 an hour right now.
You can't
Hardly.
make a living. I mean,
And like competition is always good for free enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
If they're paying you 12 at Dollar Store and Big Lots is like, hey, we'll give you 13, they'll go to Big Lots.
Yeah.
Dollar Store is gonna have to be like, well, we'll give you 14.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? More competition is always good. Is always going to raise wages. Now, if you want to stop buying cheap stuff from China, let's do it right now.
You're going to pay for
But-
it.
But
That's the other thing.
You're
Your
gonna pay
shirts,
for
you're
it.
going to go to buy a pack of shirts. It's going to be $50
Yep.
for
Yeah.
like 3 shirts.
Yeah.
I mean, we're seeing that at McDonald's.
All right,
My
Dude.
gosh, you go to McDonald's now, it's $12 to get a cheeseburger.
And you know, I buy wholesale stuff. We buy guns and ammo mostly wholesale, but I buy some music equipment and different things. And I mean, I feel for these small places that are trying to stay open, these brick and mortar establishments, and I still do buy things that are made in America. There are some companies that still make stuff in America, and strings and cables and stuff like that. And but like I went to the hardware store today, and like I say, I'm not blaming them at all, but I went to go buy some herbicide, some weed killer. And it was a big jug. I get the concentrate, and I just can't imagine how this happened. But it was like $69.99 for a 2.5 gallon jug. Have you bought any?
Oh,
have you
yeah.
seen?
Yeah.
You know how much it is now?
I don't have a
It was
clue.
$222.
Good Lord.
For 2.5 gallons
Wow.
of eraser is what
Wow.
I used to buy, which is really high powered, concentrated, weed killer, but. I mean, in my opinion, if you're going to do it, you should
Do it right.
You should just
Do
do
it
it.
right.
You're not going to go have to spray it again.
What's up, Andrew?
But it's just
Cutts.
crazy, man. The cost of stuff is going
It's insane.
through
Yeah.
the roof. So I mean, it's kind of like, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, I really wish DC would kind of get us a taper off kind of mentality with China. If nothing else, I mean, I really don't think we could handle all at once.
No.
I really don't, because it's just like
Oh no, we're
it's like being
far
addicted to a
too-
drug. It's like being, a serious alcoholic where if you just quit, you're going to probably die.
I would actually say it's way worse than that, because it's not that we're addicted to their products. We're dependent on them for things that we use.
Yeah.
I mean, remember with COVID, all the supply chain issues that happened. Yeah. It is insane. We're dependent on them for pharmaceuticals. We're dependent on
medical
them.
supplies
Yeah.
are the big thing.
We're dependent on them for food.
Yeah.
We buy largely most of the tilapia and seafood that we buy comes from China.
Well, not just that.
It's farmed in China.
How much of the products that our food processing plants need to operate are made in China? Mm-hmm. That they couldn't operate if they couldn't get that in.
And China's not necessarily good at making things.
No, it's
Quality.
They've
It's the
gotten
scale.
It's
It's
quantity
scale.
over
Yeah.
quality.
Well,
quantity over quality.
The whole slave thing.
Oh
Yeah. Yeah. That's a
The
problem.
whole slave labor thing is
That's a problem.
is pretty serious. But I digress. But I mean, we're gonna have to do something about it.
Well, that's the thing, and I'm largely of the opinion that we don't need to call upon somebody else to do it. We need to do it.
Well, that's a
up
good
to
point.
us.
Yeah, that's a good
Up to
point.
us.
Absolutely.
We don't need to look to leadership or government and be like, we want more jobs, because I mean, the government, they can't do that. The only jobs that government can produce are bureaucratic, redundancies.
And they're all invested in China.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
all their stocks are in China.
it's up to us. So let's start a business right now. What are we doing?
Let's make wooden alligators.
First, we're gonna have to get a small loan for $1 million.
$1 million.
Yeah.
If you could start a business right now, Neil, what would it be?
If I could start a business.
Start a business.
My own business.
Yep, your own business. What would you do?
That's point blank right there.
It is.
I like a lot of things.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things I like.
Yeah. What service or product could you offer to the community that you think would be that is necessary here?
I don't know if it would be necessary, but I like working. I like fixing things.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have a repair shop.
Yeah.
But I don't know that we necessarily need that because you can't. I mean, it would be helpful, but you can't repair a lot of things anymore. Yeah, this is not worth fixing.
No.
That's like, But I don't know. You have to come back to me. I'll think about that.
What about you, Shane?
I'll go back what you said with the housing.
Real estate?
Oh, yeah. Real
Yeah.
estate. Yeah, that would be.
Housing would be
Yeah.
huge.
Noah, what about you?
I was actually going to ask if I could answer this question.
Yeah, sure.
If I don't know if it necessarily benefit the community, but it's something I would want to do.
Okay.
It's something I think would be really neat. If I wasn't going down the path I'd go on right now, I would try to open like gun store, gun repair.
Gun store. What gun stores do we have in Mitchell County?
So we
now?
have Mountaineer Pawn Shop.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then we have. I just tried to stop by there. I thought they were open till 5:30, and I didn't have anything to do. The one that's in the Bank of America building
Yeah,
now.
good people. Yeah,
What's the name of it though?
I'm trying to think.
Or then Keen Outdoor.
Mountaineer Arms.
Something like that. I could Google it and look, but it's in the old Bank of America building up there. And they are solely a gun store.
Right.
So we're obviously a pawn shop that also sells guns and ammo. And then Keen Outdoors on Upper Street is an outdoor shop. They've got fishing supplies, boots, and all that good stuff. But they also sell.
They probably sell.
They sell a few firearms and they sell ammunition.
Right. Cool.
You
And,
know what's not made in China?
What?
The guns I buy.
Guns and ammunition are not made in China.
No.
No. Well, some of them.
Some of them are. Some of them are.
I can go into some really depressing things. Like, I picked up a new Winchester shotgun, and I looked. You know where it was made? PRC. You know where that is?
Yep. The People's Republic of China.
Tore my heart out. It's so sad. Stevens.
I would be very sad.
Stevens, made in China.
Really?
I had no idea.
Oh, yeah,
so
dude.
they sold out to China.
Oh, yeah. The Remington 870s, go look at her. If you go buy Remington 870 and look at it.
China.
It's
Even the
imported from China.
Remingtons now?
China.
Remington has been so bankrupt and sold like 3 times in the
Yeah.
last 10 years.
That's true. That's true.
Ruger, Strum Ruger, and Smith & Wesson, as far as I know, of the big wigs. I mean, there's a lot of startups that are in America that are making really nice guns. But they're the only 2 publicly traded companies that I know of that are still Ruger and Smith & Wesson.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Glock. I mean, you got Glock, but there's still some made in Belgium.
Well, Austria.
Austria. Yeah.
Austria, yeah. And then they're made in Smyrna, Georgia,
Yeah.
is where they're
And
made a
they've
lot
got
of.
like over 3,000 employees or something.
I'm sure they have a lot. I don't know. And they're awesome. I had to call them one time, and it's so crazy to call a company. I just called Glock.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I had a problem with this. We had the thing with the wholesaler and the stocking program, and they were like, oh, well, I have the paperwork right here. Yep, you signed it on this date. I'll call them right now. And then I got an email like 10 minutes later, and they were
Wow.
like, oh, sorry, we messed that up. And I was like, y'all are
Wow.
awesome.
I was thinking of Browning.
Browning, yeah.
You know who else is like Taurus is like that with their customer
Taurus
service.
is making guns in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
They're not all made in Brazil anymore.
Yep.
So that's kind of cool.
Yep, that is. That is cool. And
I could talk about guns all day.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, I absolutely. I'm same. I could.
Bradley, I
babble
see your
about 'em
point.
forever.
Now shopping at discount stores is absolutely a necessity for many. And it goes back to we need skilled labor jobs. That's what we need here.
Well-
We need skilled labor jobs.
We do. We do.
pay
We
well.
need something to bring people here, such as ski resorts, to get people to build golf courses. We have one golf course.
Mm-hmm.
I'm basing this off Avery County.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I understand people like their privacy, you know, here in Mitchell County. And I do myself because I worked in Avery County. And during ski season, it's chaos.
Oh, I'm sure.
So I get that. But you got to have something to bring people here.
Mm.
and then you got to give them a place to live. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So,
I like bringing people here for jobs and opportunity, I guess, more than leisure.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's
Yeah.
the best angle because we've been going at it for so long.
It's not working.
It's not working. But
So-
like if I started a textile mill back and people were making jeans,
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
for instance, like, back in the day, people didn't just wear clothes and throw them away. They repaired them.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. You're really on this repair thing, aren't you?
Well, I mean, it's very important to have these skills and know
It
how
is.
to work on
It
things.
is.
Oh, yeah.
And that's just like, that's how people saved money back in the day.
There is. I'm not sure who owns it, but there is a recycled clothes company,
Oh, yeah.
and it's
How many people
It's a good
actually know
idea.
how to sew now?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, let's say if
Yeah.
you spend $50 on a shirt,
Yeah.
right? But it's a very high quality shirt.
Mm-hmm.
But something happens to it. If you could repair it, you wouldn't have to buy more shirts. Now, if somebody's selling these $50 shirts, they need to sell more shirts. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Built-in obsolescence was created to make more money.
Oh yeah.
That's just
yeah.
and as far as if you're talking about just looking at a bottom line, absolutely. You're kind of crazy not to do it. But America functioned the way it was back in the 50s and the 40s. And even up until we started outsourcing all these jobs. And,
Mm-hmm.
I know there's more people now, but it's all about, like we're saying, just being American and trading amongst ourselves instead of trading with any other country.
yeah.
I mean, we want to trade with other countries, but just not to the level that we are now. But I want to say this just because I think it was really true. I heard someone say, and I can't remember who it was, but they were basically talking about the South and saying that almost in a way we've still been punished, and we're just the redheaded stepchild of America, and the opioid epidemic targeted us very specifically, and then they sold all the jobs to China. So what do we expect to happen?
You're right.
Well, rural America is
Yeah.
largely in decline, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah.
People are moving. Well, up until the
Well, and
pandemic.
most of rural America is in the South.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say that. No, you've got a large swath out in the
Well, you
Rust
do.
Belt. Now,
Yeah,
out in the West. I mean, but largely
a large
before
percentage.
before pandemic, pre-pandemic, people were moving to cities for opportunity for jobs. I mean, there's tech companies, there's all these businesses, and there's all these opportunities where you can move, with your degree, without your degree, whatever. And you're getting 6-figure jobs. Of course, the cost of living there is much higher too, but still, I mean, that's the draw. That's why people are moving. So, and I kind of feel like at this point we're beating a dead horse, but that's what we need. We need jobs and housing. Those are the two big things that we need here is skilled labor, jobs, and housing. Emily Shell says, when I lived in Thailand, I was amazed at the random folks and other jobs knew how to repair random electronics, kitchen appliances, etc. It was awesome.
That's kind of what PRC's doing.
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
It
it's,
is. Well, and your developing countries, they still do repair everything
Right.
and reuse
Right.
it and patch it because they have to.
Now
Right.
people just throw a 50-inch TV in the trash.
Yeah.
And go buy a new one.
We are, gosh, the spoils.
I know.
The spoils.
But
I think
it's
that has
fake.
a lot to do
It's
with
fake.
Yeah.
America too. in
This is
whole.
a fake construct they've made because we're running off Federal Reserve dollars and slave labor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just point blank.
And it's also the indoctrination of television of what life should be.
Right.
You know,
The values are all wrong.
Well,
Yeah.
we're sold that, so we'll keep buying more stuff.
Right.
We sound like a bunch of liberals. You know that?
What?
We sound like liberals.
No.
Old school liberals.
Oh, old school liberals.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean
It's true. I mean,
real ones?
Yeah, that's
Well, I
that's
mean,
what
you know,
consider
I was-
myself.
Work, consume, and die.
Yeah, I know that's what we're programmed.
We're
to
programmed. We've been programmed since kids.
Mm-hmm.
Even what we're supposed to look like. What we're supposed to. Buy.
I know what we need, Josh.
Do. What?
We need a graphene plant.
Oh God.
Yeah.
All right, Ian.
That's what I'm gonna
All
start.
right, Ian. A graphene
We
plant.
need a nuclear power plant, actually.
Oh,
That would
I'm
be-
all about some
Oh
nuclear
yeah, that's
power.
a good answer, Noah.
That was meant to be a joke. I was meant to be joking about nuclear catastrophe, but apparently we do.
No,
No,
I'm-
nuclear plants are great.
They're clean.
We've
They're
got
cheap.
one
They're
like 2
efficient.
hours from here, so I mean,
Yeah.
what's another
really?
one?
Oh, yeah.
I'm all about it. Clean, cheap, efficient.
I met a nuclear engineer, no joke, that retired from California like last year, I think, and I was talking to him about stuff, and he was like, "You know how many people have died in America, like from actual nuclear, like
From a nuclear meltdown or from
Right.
nuclear poisoning, radiation poisoning.
right, and in a plant?" And I was like, "How many?" And he was like, "None,
Zero.
ever,
Zero.
nobody." And I was like, "Really?" And
Yeah.
I was like, "Never," and he was like, "No," and he was like, "Also, those meltdowns, they're virtually impossible now. The technology they use and the way that they build the plants,
Right.
it just can't happen." And it's obvious that some people really just want us to basically go back to the Stone Age and everything to be ruined because
So let me blow your mind a minute. This is hilarious. Once I learned this and I saw this, you can't unsee it. So a lot of the climate alarmist, climate catastrophe camp, and I'm somewhere, I guess, in the middle. I do believe that there is some climate change happening. How much of it's man-made, I don't know. I can't say. However, a lot of the
You're gonna get me going on this.
I know, right? A lot of the propaganda that's being pushed by the climate alarmist camp is largely put out by oil companies.
well, the oil prices are pretty high.
Oil companies. Because you know what? Oil companies produce more than refined gasoline to put in our cars.
What?
Plastics.
Plastics, really?
Plastics.
Oh, yeah.
Plastics. Yes. That's their big money makers. Plastics. They were behind the recycling boom. They were behind every bit of it. Get rid of glass, go to plastic, recycle plastic. Yeah. That's petroleum.
So
Every
what's
bit
their
of it's
angle? What's
petroleum.
their angle with the global warming?
So they're pushing. Well, obviously they don't want nuclear plants because that's going to put them out of
That's
business.
a good point.
Okay. So you've got a lot of the propaganda there being pushed. With global warming, they got the recycling initiative, which again
Yeah.
doesn't get recycled. 90% of what you send to be recycled does not actually get recycled.
Really?
No, it does not.
Well, that's upsetting.
It is.
I
It
was
is.
raised on that.
I was
thought I
too.
was making a difference.
We were programmed to think that, but that is not at all the case.
You know what
Not
I
all the
want?
case.
So
Side
I
note-
had the mentality. I paid for it. I'm gonna throw it away where I want to, as long as it's not on the side of the road.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
if I want to put my cans in my trash, I'm going to do it because
I'm-
I pay, and especially now when you're paying $7 for a case of Pepsi.
Right.
I'm going to throw it where I want to.
And I'm all for making the world a better, cleaner place. I am.
I am too.
100%. 100%.
But it's going to do what it's going to do.
It is, and even more so than that. And this proves my point. I keep saying this over and over and over again. Once I've learned who is behind the push for all the green stuff, is petroleum companies.
Stock owners.
Every institution in the world is corrupt to its core.
Oh yeah.
It is.
Every institution is corrupt to its core.
Yeah.
Nuclear, man.
Yeah, it's the best, I think. You know. And they're really and you can tell because there's really people that are like, "Hey guys, you know what we should do? We should build giant windmills just a couple miles offshore, all the way up and down the East Coast. Don't mind the dead whales, because that's got nothing to do with it,
Or the view.
or the view, or anything else. But no, we can't have more nuclear plants.
I'm cool with windmills. I'm cool with nuclear. I'm cool with solar. I think they all have their place.
I think solar's the way to go.
I don't think putting wind.
I've seen acres of windmills in
Yeah.
Nebraska.
Yeah.
And not one of them's turning.
Yeah. Well,
I
that's
mean,
the thing.
it's-
They have their place.
Yeah.
I don't think we
The
should-
ocean's not it, I don't think.
Have you seen the size of the...
Yeah.
I mean,
They're huge.
they're huge. And
You know what they're
They
made
don't
out
move.
of?
They
You
don't
know what they're
move.
made out of?
titanium
And plastic.
and plastic.
Oh, there's got to be plastic in there.
Ah, yeah, buddies. Yep.
Well, I mean, if we can just literally have elements burn and give us energy for nothing, I don't know why we wouldn't do that.
And when those things go bad, where are they going to go? What kind of trash is that going to make?
Now they'll get recycled with the
Yeah,
rest of the recycling.
Oh, yeah.
Can I run a question?
Oh, you mean the
I don't know if
windmills?
I'll,
Sure.
I don't know if I've looked up. Have we had a nuclear accident since 3 Mile in Pennsylvania?
No.
We haven't.
You've got Oak Hill. I mean, it's less than 2 hours from here.
Yeah. No, we've not. 3 Mile, I think, is the only nuclear incident we've ever had here, and it was largely,
What actually happened?
Nuclear meltdown.
well, was it an actual meltdown?
Yes, it was. The fuel rods dropped
Yeah.
into the reactor core. They thought it was going to blow. It didn't. It started releasing nuclear gas into the atmosphere and throughout the entire town of Pittsburgh. They had to evacuate from like a 20-mile radius,
Uh-huh.
and it did not blow, thankfully. But they considered it an accident, not a meltdown.
Right. Because it wasn't a meltdown, because it didn't blow. It was an accident.
I watched the video on it like not even 2 days ago. And
Kyle Hill.
yeah.
When was this?
Oh, gosh, this is forever ago.
70s, I
Yeah.
believe.
Right.
The
and that's
technology's
what that engineer was
yeah.
telling me, is that they don't use the same, which I don't know exactly, and it would be good if I knew that, but they don't, like he's saying, the technology's different now.
I think nuclear technology quadruples or doubles like every so many years. I don't know.
Do you know
exactly.
how you actually get energy from nuclear?
No.
Yeah.
You boil water.
Yeah. That's all you do is boil water.
Yeah.
It's a steam
Yeah.
reaction.
It's crazy.
Well,
isn't
it's
it?
steam turbine.
Right.
The nuclear.
The bad stuff's burn off.
Well, there isn't any burning. There's
Well, it's just
literally
hot.
yeah.
Boiled out. Kind of like, when you boil water to kill the microbes in the water.
Well, it's not even that. It's like the rods when they're introduced to. Okay, let's see if I can get this right. There's a reaction that's caused. And someone in the chat needs to help me out here, but let me just look it up. Let me look it up, because the rods and the nuclear material is not even like. I don't think it's even really exposed to the water. All it does is just heat the water up, and it uses the steam to turn the turbines, which produces the electricity.
Right.
That's all it does.
Why would they? How do they call it nuclear?
Because it
uses
the
a
heat. That's
fission
where the heat's
reaction.
coming from.
The heat's coming from a nuclear reaction.
So there's no lithium involved.
No,
I don't think so.
I don't
No.
think it's.
I don't even know if it's uranium anymore. Do what?
I googled it.
What does it say?
Lithium, uranium.
Globally, there have been at least 99 civilian and military recorded nuclear reactor accidents from 1952 to
well,
2009.
hang
You
on.
said globally.
Globally, we said in the United States, and we said deaths too. So you're being a little,
We got Chernobyl, and we got
yeah.
was it
Don't be so
Nagasaki?
hyperbolic.
Was it Nagasaki? Nagasaki.
No, Nagasaki was the bomb.
That's the bomb.
Ah,
But
dang
it
it.
was a place in Japan though, recently, like 2011.
Yes, that was with the tsunami.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the
yes.
tsunami.
What was that called?
It must have cooled down the water. And
Probably did.
I'll Google what it was called.
The Japanese that one was really bad.
there's got to be some uranium involved. I mean,
There is uranium, yeah. So, nuclear power plant is a thermal power station in which the heat source is a nuclear reactor.
The Fukushima incident.
Fukushima. Yeah.
Fukushima.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Emily.
I was specifically trying to
Yeah.
not say the place we bombed, but
But you did it anyway.
Yeah.
that's just American in me.
Well, the Simpsons is the longest running cartoon, and they live right beside a nuclear plant.
I know.
Oh yeah, I mean
They're totally
they're
safe.
fine.
Yeah,
they're
they're
no,
fine.
I don't know what you're so upset about.
Yeah.
The
I'm
Simpsons.
not upset about it. I was just intrigued.
According to Wikipedia, so you can take it for what that's worth, but nuclear power plants have a carbon footprint comparable to that of renewable energy, such as solar farms and wind farms. So I will take people who are sounding the alarm on the climate crisis seriously when they will have a serious discussion about nuclear power.
Yeah.
If they bring that to the table, I will sit down and talk
It's
with
never
them.
going to happen.
But
Too
until
much money
then,
involved.
I know you're absolutely right. I agree with that. But yeah, so the way that they work, If it's good enough for The Simpsons, it's good enough for me, says Emily. Absolutely, I agree, 100%. And if Homer Simpson is their safety guy, I mean,
it really doesn't take much, does it?
There's been like 50 meltdowns and nobody's died.
no one's died.
No.
Mr. Burns has gotten even richer. You know who his character is based off of?
Who's that?
One of the Rothschilds.
That doesn't surprise me.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. I'm not going to say what I'm thinking.
One of the Rothschilds.
Yeah.
Yep, he was. His character was based on one of the Rothschilds. Fantastic. Man, how many things have The Simpsons predicted?
It's like 4 or 5 that have been just very uncanny, like creepy.
That is creepy.
Well, we all know the big one was the Trump presidency.
Yeah.
I got to look that up.
Yeah, look that up because there was a couple more that were really, really crazy.
Okay, so we got smartwatches, serving horse meat, three-eyed fish, baby translator, censoring Michelangelo's David, Lady Gaga in the Super Bowl, Walt Disney and Fox merger, Trump presidency.
Wonder how many of those are AI though.
I don't know. Baby translator.
You seeing all this AI stuff?
Yeah.
I'm deeply entrenched.
I have
in
a.
AI.
Oh my God.
I have a video of that someone
It looks
made.
so real. I mean,
Will
it's-
Smith eating spaghetti.
Yeah.
That's the most horrifying
And they
thing
have,
I've ever
you
seen
know-
in my life. Have you seen that?
Simpsons did it. Simpsons did it. Yes, I have. It's hilarious. I like the one of him working at McDonald's. Have you seen it?
No.
Yeah, someone posted that, and they one of the AI groups that I'm in, the art groups, and they're like, "Man, times are tough." And he's behind Will
That
Smith.
goes back to not believing anything you see on TV,
Yep.
on the internet, unless you're there.
I've got 2 questions. Real quick. And one I'm going to ask you in just a minute. But on the AI thing, do you think that it's really that big of a threat of people making like
Deep fakes.
deep fakes of
Absolutely.
like political
Yes.
figures?
Absolutely.
I think it's a national threat.
Do you think that it's actually going to be hard to tell, like, forensically, you could obviously tell a difference very quickly, right? Am I right?
That I don't know.
Well, surely you could.
I would think so, but I mean,
Because a computer generated it. But the thing is, cameras,
they're all
it's still
computer.
a computer
it's
generated
all computer
image.
generated images. Yeah, so I don't know if forensically you could even tell the difference.
That is
honestly,
scary.
people can make this podcast we're doing right now
Mm-hmm.
and it not be real.
Mm-hmm. How do you know that one?
So then we
like
just need to
wild
blow
to
it all
think
up,
about.
then, don't we? I
Yeah,
mean, this
I
is
mean-
the end, right?
So we are in a simulation. That's what we're establishing.
We
here.
are.
We are in the simulation.
That's the reason when I cut the TV on, I do not watch the news. I do not watch anything that has to do with politics anymore.
Oh yeah.
Because it just
I
makes,
don't blame you.
because I mean, even with these shootings that's going on, you don't know what to believe anymore.
Right. I know, man. If you don't
Yeah.
see it for, and that was the other question I wanted to ask you. Just like your personal opinion as a resource officer, and I'm sure you've seen a lot of stuff, people talking and probably training and stuff that's coming down. How do you feel about these school shootings? What do you think we could do better that would actually make a difference?
Honestly, arm the teachers.
Really, you think? Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think they should go through a course with the sheriff's department. And I'm not talking about every teacher. I'm talking
Right.
about the teachers that want to
Right.
and the teachers that are capable.
Right.
Because there's some very capable teachers.
Oh, I'm sure there are.
Because at one time, I was a 20-year-old just getting into law enforcement, and I had to learn how to use a gun. I had to learn what to do when I was being shot at. Why can't they?
Right.
And I know it's sad times to say that our teachers need to be armed, but they do.
Right.
They do. And somebody posted yesterday, or the day before yesterday, the shooting. See, I see,
It was
I
yesterday.
see-
Yesterday was the Louisiana.
I see all my news on TikTok and things like
Now
that.
that wasn't a school, right?
no, it was a bank, I
Louisville.
believe. Yeah, Louisville.
They said,
Yeah,
well,
Louisville. My
one of the
bad.
person's arguments was, well, so much for the armed security guard at the bank. How long has it been since you've seen an armed security guard at the bank?
I haven't seen one. I don't remember.
Now, had there been an armed security guard at the bank, or the teller's been armed, we wouldn't have a story because the news wouldn't air it. What people don't
Yeah.
understand is for every one mass shooting, there's 50 that's been stopped.
Mm-hmm. I do agree that a lot of it's amplified in the media.
It
You're
is.
absolutely right on that. I would say attack it. We need to. This is a problem that solely, for some reason, I don't know why, is just in America. For some reason, this is something that is
I
very
have a theory, but people's
very.
not gonna like my theory.
I wonder what we can do to find the root cause and attack it on that front. Like arming the teachers, I would think would be like a Band-Aid, more of a preventative measure. Like, you know, if you're comparing
it's not a soft target anymore.
Right.
These people aren't hitting
Right.
Police departments.
Right.
It's not a soft target. They know that.
Well, like,
they see a big sign outside that says our teachers are armed.
Do you like me working at the pawn shop? You know, a lot of pawn shops do have armed guards, but we don't have a lot.
It.
But you know, I carry a sidearm. I carry a Glock 40 on my hip. Do you think that's better than concealing a gun? Which one would you say would be a better idea?
When you have a gun out in the open, you're the first one going to be shot in the head.
Right, but at the same time, if someone comes in and they're casing the place and they see me with a gun,
Now,
are they going to want to get in a gunfight?
No, but they're going to know, okay, this guy has a gun.
Yeah.
So we need to get him from behind. Now, if you've got it concealed,
Right.
and you let everybody know, hey, we carry concealed.
Right.
They're not going to know who.
Right.
Who carries concealed.
Right. Well, I mean, you know, somebody that doesn't know who you are.
I'm not real big on the open carry. I'll just be honest.
Not even as a guard in a place like that. Like if you've got an armed,
as a armed guard, you're going to be the first one.
You're a target.
First one targeted.
but so you don't think that armed guards are useful? You just think people need to conceal.
I think an armed guard needs to conceal, but it needs to be known that there are armed guards.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, and you know, and I've heard, and I do open carry because I've heard of other school of thought, and you know, I think a lot of times, man, they're really just going to go down the street to the place that don't have any guns.
Oh yeah. Well,
I mean, you know,
with the other shooting, she had another target. Did not pick that target because they were too much security.
Oh yeah. Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, it was in her manifesto that they're keeping hidden. Too much security. So she chose the school with the glass doors.
Right.
And
Right.
the school that she went to that she knows nobody carries, they don't even have an SRO.
Oh yeah.
So
I do, going back to the schools, I hate to think of our schools turning into compounds.
Yeah, I do too. I don't like
too.
that.
I hate it.
I would like to, like I said, I would like to attack it more on the, like, find out why this is manifested pathologically in our culture and society.
Know why. And people's not going to like my answer. And, you know, my opinions don't represent anything else but my opinions, and they're not factual.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So there's my...
All right. Disclaimer.
Yeah, that's my disclaimer there. But, and people's probably not going to like this.
Yeah.
Okay. Columbine, 1998. What happened in 1998?
I mean, I was a freshman in high school. I remember Columbine, but I don't remember.
What started in 1998?
I don't know. What was it?
I don't know.
How many shootings did you know about before Columbine?
I mean, there were mass shootings. I don't know that there was school shootings. See, I don't know. I was
Did
so
you have
young.
it at your fingertips?
No,
Oh,
no.
you're talking about the internet.
The internet.
Absolutely.
Well, you know, I mean, there is a definitely.
Not
I
just the
think you
internet.
know, yeah,
Games.
games. Oh yeah, the shooting games.
Shooting games. And I'm sorry I'm going down this road because I'm not talking to adults here.
Right, right.
Adults can sit and play Call of Duty all they want to. But these developing brains from age 5 to 12, 13, 14, and I see this.
Mm-hmm.
I see this on a regular. They don't understand reality from fiction.
Well, children by
And I'm
nature don't a lot of times.
Not every child,
Mm-hmm.
but some children do not realize, hey, if I stab this person with a pencil, they're not going to feel it.
Well, and I don't completely disagree with that, and I do think that it's very possible that it has an effect. I think that things have just gotten. I think a big part also is the mental health, and things have just gotten
Absolutely.
so divisive.
Absolutely.
That people like, I mean, a lot of times you're dealing with the suicidal individual,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
And a suicidal individual,
99.9% of
they
the
don't think
Mhm.
that they have any reason to go on this earth. For whatever
Yep.
reason,
You're
they
exactly
feel like
right.
their life is over. It's never going to get better. No one's going to help them.
Mm-hmm.
So
which
they're
is the biggest part, I think, is that nobody's going to help them. Or plus they're so mad at one certain entity or maybe a couple that they feel like it's their fault. They're playing a victim. They're saying it's your fault that my life is ruined.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And I think that's where a mass shooting comes from. Now, say somebody, has a great, like they're a big doctor or something like that. They have a great life, a lot of friends, and then they cheat on their wife and they lose everything.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to kill themselves. They're just going to go kill themselves.
Right.
They're not going to go out and commit a mass shooting. Now, people that think that the world or these specific people maybe or just the world in general has ruined their life, they're the ones that are going to go shoot people.
There's no popularity in just going and killing yourself. They want to go out and make a statement.
So
Yeah.
Can I say something real quick?
Sure.
Even as a person who plays games on a very, very regular basis, I completely agree with you.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely.
well,
yeah.
See,
Wow.
there's some kids that can handle it, and there's some kids that can't.
well, just
And
like
that comes from parenting.
Yeah.
Parenting it starts at home.
It does.
it
starts
does.
at
I
home.
think I would say it's probably just guessing. I mean, again, I'm just a dude on the internet with a microphone. I know very little to nothing. I would say, just in my estimation, it's probably 50-50 nature versus nurture. I would say a lot of it plays into their genetics. Do they have a genetic predisposition for sociopathy, for psychopathy? I think that is more common than we would like to think about.
Right.
Well,
And then on top of that, you have environmental factors. There's traumas that are suffered, and
A kid that has trauma that sits and plays a video game is hyping this
right.
mentality.
Right.
well,
So that's why I say it's not all kids.
right.
Well,
Some can differentiate.
and it can definitely exacerbate a situation.
Yes,
I think
absolutely.
And I don't know that they're necessarily psychopaths, but I feel like there's like a lot of antisocial disorder
Oh, yeah.
and things that are happening, and then we're having these compounding factors like this, and it's turning into a pseudo psychopathy.
And it's turning
You know what
into
I mean? And they're ending up hurting people.
a copycat. They're seeing it all over the news, all over the internet, all over social media.
Right.
And they're thinking,
Well, and they're on the internet, and the internet is not a real place.
right, exactly.
It's just
not,
people that are making up stuff. People probably go on. When I was a kid, we went on the internet just to make up things that were dumb.
insane.
Yeah.
Like go say stuff on a chat room that were just
Oh.
it wasn't true at all. Just make stuff up and just
It's easy to talk
be an
trash
idiot.
to somebody behind a screen.
and that's all it was, and people knew that. But nowadays, people take everything so seriously.
Yeah.
That they do. I agree with you 110%
I also
there.
agree with that. That is literally insane, especially my generation.
And you know where that comes from? Participation trophies.
Oh yeah,
No self accountability.
yeah.
Parenting starts at home. Every
Yeah.
bit of this goes back to home.
Well, this is interesting. So, my daughter is going to be a year old in May, and my wife is looking at schools of learning, and Montessori was something that I was a part of. I went to Montessori school for a while, and I didn't really know that much about it. But Montessori school doesn't believe in any kind of fantasy.
Right.
The child doesn't. You have the toys that you have look like a dog. They look like a
Like
horse.
we were raised, basically.
Right. There's no fantasy in it. And I think that's really good in a way. You got the Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny and stuff
Well,
like
children
that.
have to pretend.
Right.
I
You
mean,
watch
you want that
cartoons, but
imaginative
What was
play.
your number one game when you were a kid? Cowboys and Indians.
No, I was Captain Hook, man. I was a pirate.
oh yeah,
was a
you like
pirate.
Yeah, I was a pirate, dude.
Yeah.
I was Captain James Hook.
But we played Cowboys and Indians.
Yeah.
Or-
it was with guns. You know.
Well, see, we got to live in the world before the internet,
right.
and that's what I was going to say to Noah. We had.
But where did we get the ideology to play Cowboys and Indians?
I mean, I guess from The old
TV
westerns.
shows.
Problem TV shows, yeah.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's really
We're going out and we're acting like we're shooting each other.
right.
Yeah.
But you get to do it for real online now. With
Right.
the blood and the gore and everything.
It's so realistic.
yes.
I do think they're desensitized to the point
Even,
where
you got a headset. You got
Yeah.
another dude talking to you.
Yeah, I know. I agree with that.
Yeah.
That we are largely desensitized.
Yeah.
You do get desensitized to the violence,
You do.
and I think
it's addictive too.
American
It is.
culture.
It is
Very
addictive.
addictive.
I watch, and you can just look. I'm sorry, Josh.
No, you're
You
good.
can just look at the huge. I mean, how many people watch murder podcasts?
Oh, yeah.
How big are murder podcasts?
Informative murder porn.
Yeah. And you know,
It's like Tool
South
said,
Park,
man.
the discipline
I like to
today
watch.
is I'm taking his device. I'm
Oh,
taking
yeah.
his device.
They took my guitars one time.
Yeah, I had my guitars taken too. It was awful.
I tell you what, right
I
now,
had my soul snatched.
anybody,
My grandma
anybody out
snatched
there,
my soul with
With a switch?
Yes.
if learning an instrument is always good,
Yeah.
always.
Yep.
I
Absolutely.
recently picked back up the guitar.
Oh, good, Noah.
I hope
And
you
that's
learn.
that's awesome. Any type of thing like that is awesome
Yeah.
to me.
But what was I going to say now?
I wish I had the capability of learning an instrument. But
You do, man.
It's just discipline. It's just
I've
discipline.
tried.
It's all good. But
And
Yeah, man.
I'll say, even as a person who is dove body deep into the gaming world, it's insane.
Well, Noah, you go to school. You see these kids I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You see the ones walking around in a virtual reality world, and all they can think about is this video game.
Mm.
They even emulate the moves and the dances, and you know
That's called, I think, serious, like, addiction more than
they are.
Well, we had. I mean,
Yes.
those are kind of like, I don't know what you would call them. I guess geeks or dweebs or something like that. I mean, there's always been people like that were just so into fantasy that it was just their whole world.
Mhm.
You know, but
Oh, yeah.
with it being, but I get what you're saying with it being so realistic now that just people they don't know how to differentiate reality, and they don't want to be in reality. I think that's the other thing.
And I can even link
I don't
this
know.
back to Dungeons and Dragons in the 80s.
Hmm.
You had
D&D came out in the 80s?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
What?
yeah,
D&D's that old? I thought
You
that
didn't
was
know
like,
that?
I thought that was like 2010.
If you-
That was
if
the
you-
role-playing game.
If
Mm-hmm.
you knew these people that played
Like-
this game, every one of them has some kind of mental disorder. I'm sorry, it's true.
I think every one of us have some kind of mental
Yeah,
disorder. to
well,
some
you know,
degree.
Yeah,
It-
I'm just saying they were out there,
Yeah.
man. Like
It's a different kind of person. It really is. You know, anybody that gets lost in a fantasy world, you know,
I'm not talking about like everybody. I'm just
Yeah.
saying the majority.
right. Some people do, and some people don't have a fulfilling life, and that can lead to very serious problems down the road, and you know, feelings of suicide and that their life is lost, and you
Yeah.
know, but I think what's crazy now is how many kids commit suicide,
Yeah.
and I think it's just accelerated by the internet.
It is
Because
See,
there's not just people like, you got a couple bullies, you know, whatever, when you grew up, but like now there's all these people on the internet
There's
that are like,
thousands
well,
of
your
bullies.
life is already over,
And right
it's
here,
ruined.
This right here, this cell phone, man. There's so much bullying going on.
I always say, cell phones are both a blessing and a curse.
Yeah, they are.
They are.
And so's the internet. If it was used for the right way, which is knowledge,
D&D leads to
but you
suicide.
can't even.
D&D leads to suicide. Who said that?
Extreme Iceman says that.
Well, now I
Oh,
like. Well, I was gonna say, so like, I was just gonna tell Noah. So like, RPGs like is always a dice roll. Like if you play Final Fantasy, you're basically playing Dungeons and Dragons.
I've
Yeah.
actually never
Yeah.
played Final Fantasy.
Except you're sitting with real people around you, and you really get into your character,
Mm-hmm.
and that character becomes you in real life. I've seen it. I
Here's,
mean,
I'll kind of chime in a little bit. Actually, something actually reasonably important. Video games, at least for me, a while, were an escape.
Yeah.
Do not do that. It's not a proper escape.
You're exactly
Play
right.
games to have fun and
Right.
enjoy them with friends or yourself. Don't use that to just break off from your life.
yeah, don't make that your life. I mean, that's,
Oh, Extreme Iceman is Tim Westveer. What's up, Veer?
Hey, Via.
but But it's so
You have
many
an accent
kids,
all of a
man.
sudden.
You
They
do.
just-
What happened? Where'd that come from?
It's crazy, man. It's crazy out there.
Well, I don't know. We can't. We sit and say, well, they think this, they do this. I don't know. I don't know. I largely, I don't know. I mean, we can guess all day long, but at the end of the day, we don't know what anybody's thinking. We don't know what's going on in their heads.
It's not really anecdotal for me because I see it.
Yeah.
I see it daily.
I just my takeaway largely from this is we have a mental health crisis in America.
Video
We
games
do.
do not help
And there's
that.
no money to be made in mental health.
I mean, not like some things, but there's definitely, like I was gonna say earlier, like RHA and stuff. You know how much we spend sending people up there for therapy?
Oh, yeah.
That's
I know.
that's. Man,
You know what we need to do?
I mean, there's no money to be made.
We need to go back to just playing Minecraft.
You know, earlier.
That's what needs to happen.
No, we need. You know what we need? We need couch co-op. You know what that is?
I agree with you 110%.
That's what we grew up with. Was couch co-op.
That some games still do that. You
Yeah,
can
they
connect
do.
another controller and it'll split screen.
Yeah.
I didn't have that. I had the floor is hot lava, so
Well, I mean, Josh just didn't play. Josh played the guitar.
The first shooting game I ever played was like with other people was Doom.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I've played Doom.
And
Doom
Well,
that was
the
on
most
the,
recent one that
Yeah.
I played.
That was on like the Tandy 1000.
We had Halo.
But
That was the big one. Was Halo. When Halo came out,
Yeah.
that was it.
if it not, and for a adult, if they want to sit and play video games, I'm not knocking video games or people that are gamers.
Right.
I'm just saying there's certain games that kids should stay away from.
Well, it's just
And like he said, don't make it your life. You know,
Well, don't make anything your life.
But
Right.
parents are using this for babysitting.
Oh,
Well,
I'll tell you, the tablets kill me worse. Well, they're playing video games too, but the tablets kill me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm pretty sure I don't know. I got like a phone to use YouTube on super early in my life. Do you
Mhm.
remember that? I was like, what, 6, 7,
No, you were 9.
9?
9.
Oh yeah, I got a laptop.
I
I
was
got a
gonna
laptop
say.
at 9.
Oh, that's cool.
That was a
Yeah.
bad idea.
Well, see,
We
I'm
didn't have
guilty of that
laptops at
too.
nine.
Both my kids had got a
Mhm.
phone at 9,
Mm-hmm.
9 years old, and if I had it to do over again, I would have waited till they were
Yeah.
16.
And the phone that you got was only connected to the internet. It wasn't like Wi-Fi. You didn't have cell service or anything. But not that that really mattered.
The only thing I
and
really
these
had on thing
games
was
I'm
YouTube.
talking about here, it does say a certain age on the games.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Who's going to enforce that?
Dude,
The parents.
you know exactly.
The parents have to enforce it.
I have kids that are in there buying video games, and I'm like, the parent, I'm like, that's mature.
It's pretty gory, yeah.
And they're like, eh.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
if it'll keep them busy for 8 hours, I don't care.
It was Grand Theft Auto,
I
man.
mean, I got Call of Duty Modern Warfare at 14. So,
That's 14. I'm talking about like 8 or 9.
oh dear lord,
Like literally
No.
giving them Grand Theft Auto.
why?
Yeah, I'm
I
telling
don't
you,
know.
man.
But have you been around guns and shotguns and
Well, I'm kind of a gun fanatic, but I don't want to be dangerous with them.
okay, so you know what a gun can do,
Oh, absolutely.
a real gun.
Yes.
See,
And
that
I've
is
shot
the
them.
difference in some kids and him.
Yeah. I don't know.
Another thing I'll say, please be safe with firearms and, don't kill people.
Yeah.
And be cool.
People are dead forever.
I love you,
Yeah.
Noah.
Yeah, there's no
What?
there's
It's
no,
a PSA. I kind of have to say be safe
Okay.
with the guns when you have them.
you don't respawn. I mean, it's you got one life.
No, huh?
I'm not. I don't know. I'm not solely convinced that. I'm not totally convinced that the. I think maybe video games may be a factor in it, but I don't know. It goes back to like when Columbine happened. I do remember everyone clutching their pearls and blaming Marilyn Manson and blaming the video games then, and I was like, I don't know.
Well, they hadn't been out long enough. Then.
No.
For
I'll say this when he's talking about that, like, I'm a pretty conservative person, but when it comes down to it, I think that our mental health problem has been so bad since World War II
Mhm.
that it's really catching up with us now.
Yeah.
And that whole generation that got told that they didn't have feelings. So like their dads didn't have feelings because they were in the war, and if they had feelings, they literally wouldn't be able to function.
Function,
right,
yeah.
they called it
Because
shell
they had
shock then.
PTSD and they didn't know what it was, and they just drank.
My grandpa
And-
used to talk about shell shock. That's
Right.
what they called it.
Right, exactly.
They didn't call it PTSD.
And then their children grew up with problems because their dads had no feelings.
Because they turn to alcohol most of the time.
Right. And then it just kind of blossomed into all this wonderful mental health issues from those grandkids. And in a way, I'm wondering if that's kind of just a trickle down effect like that.
It is. It's multiple factors.
I think
But I'm honestly going back to parenting here. I mean, honestly, this starts at home, man. Your values start at home.
no, I agree with that 100%.
You got to value another human life.
Yeah.
You know, you have to.
Yep. You
and
do.
you have to teach your children that other people have feelings, and because they're different from you or look different from you, or they might bully you, doesn't give you an excuse to go out and kill somebody. You know.
Oh no,
And bullying's huge, but bullying's a broad term nowadays. Like everything's bullying.
I bet it is.
This kid called me fat.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, are you fat? No, I'm not fat. Well, then why are you worried about it?
You know what's
Right.
kind of funny? You know how me and my buddies joke around? We insult one another.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we used to do growing up.
Oh,
my
yeah.
God.
But now,
Yeah.
I won't
they're
repeat
so-
the things we used to say to each other.
so sensitive. Now, bullying to me is like constantly shoving, picking, constantly, like
Well,
all the time.
I'll tell you, I think that influencers probably have a big thing into it.
Hands-on stuff.
People thinking that they need to have these lives and do a
Yeah.
certain thing and look a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, and you know how.
And like, I think back in the day when it was just movie stars and stuff, like everybody was like, well, they're just a movie star, I'm not. But then nowadays it's like Instagram and Facebook and everything want to make you think that everybody's like that.
Mhm.
There's all these people that, oh, look at them. Oh, they've got these great lives and they look
Yeah.
great and they do all this. And I think it hurts a lot of people, a lot of kids' mental health, seeing
Especially
that stuff.
kids. Yeah, it really does.
And then when they have somebody call them fat, they might not.
Because we've been programmed.
It might hurt them a little worse than it did us when we were kids, just because of the way we perceive others.
We've been programmed
Mm.
by television that a certain body type is what a perfect body type is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not true.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Societal
It's not
standards, in my opinion, are the dumbest thing to ever happen in
Well,
history.
I mean, they're there for a reason.
Oh, yeah.
But in every society, every culture has different beauty standards. But our beauty standards largely are just to sell products.
Right,
It is.
right. It is.
Unfortunately.
And then you hand kids Barbies when they're little, back
Yeah.
in our day, and they were perfect.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have fat Barbie.
No.
So it's programmed. And who's going to buy the fat Barbie? So it all goes back to consume,
Mm-hmm. Consume.
Yeah.
Oh, man. This has been an interesting episode. We've covered a lot of
Yeah.
a lot of
kinda
stuff.
jumped around
We
on
have. We've
things.
jumped around. We've just been hanging out, shooting the crap. It's all good.
My thing is, it just with the shootings and the school shootings, the guns are not the issue.
Well, the guns are just the catalyst for something to be carried out.
Yes, and
It's much deeper.
It's much deeper. It's
Well,
if,
like you said,
if evil gets something in their mind, they're going to do it
Yeah, I
with
agree with
whatever it takes to do it with. Now, does a gun make it easier? Yes,
that. Mm-hmm.
but they could do it any way they want to, like run over a bunch of kids in a parade.
yeah. There's
Evil-
mass stabbings.
mass stabbings. I mean, evil's going to do what it sets its mind to do.
Can I kind of chime in? In my opinion, I've watched hundreds of gun videos on the net from professionals. I've shot guns personally, and in my opinion, guns are only dangerous when you make them.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I mean, you can find any object in this room to kill somebody with if you're that evil.
Right. Well, and it's true. And, I think a lot of people forget about, I think it's a necessary thing because of our Constitution and that we were a constitutional republic and that our founding fathers wanted us to be armed.
Oh, yeah.
And they wanted us to be able to defend ourselves
We wouldn't be
against
here if we
tyranny, whether it be domestic or foreign. And yes, there is going to be a certain amount of, I think, problem that arises with that, but I think the ends justify the means in that.
Absolutely. There's
And
a reason
also-
we haven't been attacked on our own soil.
I don't like that saying. The ends justify the means.
Well,
I'm not a big fan of that one.
well, I know, but I'm just being honest about that. And I was gonna say also, you can't. Guns exist.
Sure,
You can't take them
sure.
all away.
Well, I think the gun debate takes away from the root cause, and that's what we need to be figuring out.
Right,
What we need to
right.
be spending. The gun debate is, I mean, I don't know. There's.
I'm a very blunt person. I put that very bluntly, but
I
I
am
think
too.
most people know what I meant by
No,
that.
no, I get it.
Is
I
that,
get
that
it.
people are going to have guns.
No, they
and
are.
they can shoot people.
It
But that's
built-
necessary for us to
Guns
have the country,
built this country.
the greatest country in the world.
Guns built this country. This
And
country
it's
would not be
dangerous
here.
out there, guys. I mean, you go outside, drive down the road. I mean, it's dangerous.
You know what it goes back to? Parenting,
Yeah, parenting. Yeah, he's right.
home life.
I think these are very complex and nuanced issues, and it's hard for me to boil them down to
Telling
one
people,
simple
I'll tell you
thing.
something. The last thing I have to say, maybe, is that telling people that they're victims, does not help anything.
Mm-mm.
No,
Telling people they're victims of people
Constantly.
Yeah.
Constantly.
The victimhood is out of control for sure.
Mhm.
I agree.
well, we're all victims now. I'm a victim. Are you a victim?
I mean, I choose to not be a victim.
Yeah, I'm not a victim.
No.
I'm a victim of my own circumstances.
Right.
Of
And
my own
I could
actions.
blame a lot of people for the trouble that I've had in my life, but I take responsibility for the
Yeah.
things I did and where I was and what happened.
Yeah.
That is how you grow as a person, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, taking accountability and responsibility for your
Right.
actions
I
and
mean-
mistakes that you make. Nobody does that anymore.
Right.
Oh, they do. People do. I just.
Yeah, I think
I
there's
don't
a
like,
lot more.
I don't like the generalizations to say no one does that anymore, because they do. I mean,
Right. I just did.
Exactly. So there you go. Thanks, Neil.
Yeah, the-
These are just so complex. These issues are extremely.
Have we got
nuanced.
anything nice to end on?
I don't know.
It got dark.
It did. It got real dark real
it-
quick.
it's a sad issue. It is, and
Well, and
as
I wanted
long as evil exists,
to see what you thought about specifically, like what measures you could take to actually curb this possibly. But I know, like Josh says, it's a really deep issue, and it seems like we have it worse than anyone else for sure.
We do. It's
in the-
uniquely American, and it goes far deeper than the gun debate.
it does. And I agree. We don't want to make schools prison, but at the same time, as a law enforcement officer, for a long time, you see what the real world is.
Yeah,
It's a war zone, man.
yeah, I know.
I mean, as an officer, you could be killed at any given moment.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and school's supposed to be a safe place for kids to go.
Mm-hmm.
For some kids, that's the only place they get patted on the back. It's the only place they get a meal.
It is.
Somebody to give them a hug. Somebody tell them they did a good job. That's their safe place, and what we can do to make it safe. We can't take evil away from the world.
Right.
Getting rid of guns is not the solution. I'm all for background checks. I'm all for that stuff.
Right. And that's another thing I can get. I don't know. Are we like out of time?
Yeah.
We're getting close, but it's cool.
Well, I was just gonna say the background check thing. I think is something that is just so incredibly misreported. Like people have no idea how background checks actually work.
They don't. They don't.
And-
And I can attest to that.
I mean, I do it all day,
You
every
do
day,
it all day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all day, and I know exactly what the laws are. And it's not the easiest thing in the world.
And if
I mean,
you're-
it is fairly easy for a law-abiding citizen, but you have to have your ducks in a row. I mean, you're not just gonna.
No, what gets me is, another way to curb this is, you make a comment on Facebook, you get fact checked, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, all these people that's done these mass shootings, they've gave warnings on
Yeah, they
social
have.
media.
Yeah.
Where was law enforcement then?
Yeah.
Well, they said, well, Tennessee doesn't have a red flag law. Yes, they do. It's just not called a red flag law.
Mm-hmm.
Just like here, if someone in your family or someone you know is suicidal or makes a threat and has weapons, you can go right now and get paperwork on them. They can be picked up.
Mm-hmm.
Their guns will be taken for a certain amount of time until they're evaluated by a mental health professional. That's in almost all 50 states.
Right. It is sad how little, and I think it was in Texas, the NICS check actually failed.
Yeah. And
The
FBI
guy had a
on the
flag.
watch list. Yeah.
Really?
And they missed it.
And the Uvalde?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
pretty. If I
Yes. No, you're
Wow.
right. You're right.
yeah, and
Wow.
because I think his aunt had called and made a report.
Yes.
He was like
multiple 3.
very upset. Like he has guns and he wants to do something bad,
Wow.
and they just didn't.
ignored it.
That wasn't a planned school shooting. That was a planned suicide by cop.
Mm.
Well, aren't most of them? I mean, did anybody really think that they're going to get away with it?
Yeah, but he just happened to crash there next to the school and go in.
Oh, is that? Oh, it was just
Yeah.
that he crashed there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So he runs in the school and just
I guess that's one of the cops' worst fears is a suicide by cop.
killing anybody is like the worst thing that could ever happen to an officer.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
I'm sure.
the last thing I want to do is take somebody's life.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think a lot of people understand the mental repercussions of having to do so.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's the most vile person on the face of this earth, I don't want to have to take their life.
No.
But I will if I have to.
And on that note,
You're gonna end it.
yeah, we're about out of time, and
Okay.
I'm killed.
Are you killed?
I'm killed.
Me too.
Well, bless
It's been
your
a
heart, Josh.
Long day. I worked 12 hours today, and I'm ready to
12.
12.
You know when I got up? 4 o'clock.
I'm sorry. Why'd you get up at 4 o'clock?
I'm just kidding. I didn't.
I got up at 5, and I wasn't happy about
You're
it.
supposed to say I never went to sleep.
I didn't go to sleep ever.
I got up about 8:15 this morning.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Work was busy today. It wasn't bad. It was just super busy. There's a lot of really bad things going on in the world, and
We can change it.
we can.
We can. I was just gonna say. I
We
think
have to.
the positive thing is we've talked about we can buy American, start businesses, raise children. It's scary to raise children in this world, but the only thing it's going to help is children that are raised right.
Yes, absolutely.
Having children and raising them right.
And that starts with God.
Right? It does.
Just raising them to be kind and value others and human life. Value.
Yep.
On a more wholesome note, I'll give props to my father for
Yeah.
guiding me in the correct direction every
Well,
time I make a mistake.
And we all did.
Man, I just do
That's
the
how you
best I
learn.
can. Just do the best I can.
More of a wholesome note.
Wholesome.
There we go. That's a nice. That's
Yeah.
sweet.
Well, everybody, thank you for watching. Sorry that this did take a dark turn, but it's just we're just some guys hashing stuff out, and that's what it is. We just sit and talk and try to hash out what we can and just have conversations, and maybe something good comes out of it. I hope it does. But remember to like, share, subscribe, please. Come back and visit us, hang out with us next time. We're doing live streams every Tuesday at 8 p.m. and we do pre-recorded episodes and sometimes live streams on Thursdays at 8 p.m. But we always have 2 episodes per week. We have an awesome episode coming up this Thursday with Noah Sedberry from Safe Place. So that's really exciting. Noah's awesome. He was a great guest. It's pre-recorded, pre-taped, so that will be live Thursday at 8 o'clock. And thanks everybody for watching. We really appreciate it. And come back and see us. Neil, you want to shout out anybody, anything? Say bye. Hey,
Just bye, guys. Everybody be safe out there.
Shane?
I'd just like to say, it did turn dark, but, as a cop, that's the world you live in.
Yeah.
And, the general public hasn't seen what I've seen in my career. So I do have a cynical kind of sort of view on things.
Mm-hmm.
and I'm very outspoken on things. But that being said, it can always be worse, and I'm thankful for the country we do live in. And I'm thankful for the upbringing that I had, and I tell you, just teach your kids about Jesus. Teach your kids about Jesus. That's, I kind of get emotional when I think about it, but that's the bottom line. It's faith, man, and you have empathy. And to go back on everything, if everybody would do what Jesus said, love one another.
Yeah.
That put a stop to everything.
Definitely make the world a much different place, wouldn't it?
It would.
It would.
We can hope and pray, but
I'm not opening up another can of worms, but even if you don't believe in a higher power, or you're, Muslim, some other religion, if you love thy neighbor as thyself, it's going to fix everything.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I'm going to end it there.
Love your neighbors, everyone.
Thanks for having me on there.
Man, thanks for coming, Neil.
Thanks, Shane.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thanks, Josh.
Yeah, I had a blast. I love the conversation. Everybody, we love you all. Be safe, be kind to each other, and until next time, peace out.